Pemmican is an excellent travel and survival food, but it takes a lot of time to prepare. Fortunately, there's another way to get your essential protein.
I've recently partnered up with Prepper Beef. In the wild, getting enough protein can be challenging. Prepper Beef makes it easy to get essential protein and other nutrients of real food in super lightweight packages of freeze-dried beef. With 12 servings per package and no artificial junk added, it's easy to meet your protein needs and stay energized during your outdoor adventures. And it lasts for well over 10 years, so this is an excellent way to prepare for potential future disasters. The best way to rehydrate Prepper Beef is to soak the chunks of beef in hot water. To do that, first I need a fire. After the wood burns down to hot coals, then I'll boil some water in my pot. That's good enough. Now I just add several chunks of freeze-dried beef to the water and I'll let it soak for about 15 minutes. And now it's ready.
This is excellent. You wouldn't even know it's freeze-dried.
Stay prepared with Prepper Beef. Go to chadzuberbeef.com or click the link in the description below and get 15% off at checkout by using promo code ZUBERBEEF15.